Okay, let's make some gears for our robot, and I'm going to start with the Polystar tool. I don't really need to fill for right now, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I've got 12 sides to this, right? And I know that I can look at that again by just going over to the tool settings and going to number of sides 12. All right, so 12 sides. Just gonna try a little something new here. This time around, what I'm gonna do, and I say this time around because I just did this a moment ago and I didn't think it was as exact as I wanted. All right. What I was doing was I was just taking a square and putting it over top of here, right, and then just kind of getting rid of that part of it. I think what I could try doing is making this into a symbol. So I've got this part as a symbol, right? Hit F8, gear part. And then bringing this to the center point. And how do I know where that is? Well, let's find the center point. I'm going to connect this to here, this over here. Okay, so now the pivot point is right in the center. So if I take another one of these, should be, or if I could copy it, I should say, I should be able to copy it and then just rotate it down like that. Copy it again, rotate it down, and actually it's snapping nicely. Just a couple more to go. All right, cool. This would be a good thing to save because if I were to double click inside of here, I could change any one of these, right? So I could even make something very dangerous looking like that. And if you ever needed to, let's say you wanted to keep one of these exactly the same and change the shape throughout here, right? Obviously changing one is going to change them all. And so you could go over here and duplicate this, call it gear part 2, but then you'd have to go and swap out gear part whatever none for gear part 2 along all of these. Well, check this out. You can copy all of them, just create a new document real fast, paste them all in there, go to the library, change this name to gear part 2, and then come back, paste that in. Notice we've now got gear part 2 in here, so I can delete out that one, and then I can make that change. Let's move that down maybe, and then you've just got a slightly stubbier gear. So a better name for this might be like gear part base. Alright, so let's go over here and I'm going to break that apart. In fact, you know, before I do that, I'll do the smarter thing, which would be to just cut off this tail end in there. Then duplicate this apart. I mean, break that apart. And let's see, actually, I should get rid of that. One thing I could have done was made this into a circle before I broke everything apart. It's not too late to do that though. Like if you just thought it was better looking to have this interior part be a circle, what you could do is just very simply go grab your circle and do that over top like so. Paste that down, and then just grab everything, and now you've kind of merged it all into one shape. So you've got your basic gear. I'm actually going to need, I'm going to need an outline for that, but it does make sense to delete it all and then apply it again, because before I had that circle connecting over here as well. So get rid of the fill, and now let's just call this gear outline. And the reason I'll save that in the library is in case we wanted to do some other gears based off of this. And I'm just going to squish it together like so, and duplicate or copy it and just paste it over like this. So now I've got two of them, and I'm obviously going to merge or make them look like a dimensional gear here. I think the easiest thing to do is on one of your copies, go ahead and change the color drastically, and that way, as we're kind of going through here, I think it's easier to connect together these lines when you can obviously tell the difference between, you know, the left gear and the right gear. And this one is still symbol, so let me go ahead and break that apart, and then we will just go through here and connect the dots. And if we want, we could even use a third line color for these. And if you take it slow, you shouldn't have too many problems connecting someone to someone else. That one, I don't think we would even see, so we don't need to connect it, because we'll fill that in, and it would not be viewed. This one, though, would get seen right there. And ooh, let's see. I confused myself. I might have done that by maybe. It's a little tough. All right, gotta look. Blue one. This is in the foreground right here, and it's gonna go to there. Okay. I think the problem is. Yeah. All right. Okay, I see the problem here. Because we're still seeing that little bit of a plane, and if we wanted, what we could do is, as we start going through here, fill in some of these so it becomes a little bit more obvious. Of course, we'll go back through and delete out those lines later. Yep, okay, that's where I was getting messed up. Okay, so now we kind of flip over here to the other side where we are starting to see. You know what helped me is if this blue line, the one that is actually in the foreground, was visually on top of that red one. Okay, that does help. So then, switch back to my green line here. Looks like that just fell over top of that one, so I'm just making a guess. Here we go. So we would see just that little part. That would go over there. So it would go over to here and here. And then all the rest of the red we went view. So let's go ahead and smash these all together. So let's worry about these first. And start to get rid of the red on this side. Okay, now I'm going to fill that in that same dark color. Maybe I'll make it a little offset though, just in case. Oh, for some reason I'm having some trouble doing that. This happened to me earlier as well. Oh, you know what? I think it's sampling it for the line tool. There we go. Looks like I'm missing a line there. And I'm missing one right there as well. Okay, now go fill those in. And obviously, as this wheel turns around, these would be a different color than that right there. That would be a darker side. But while we're filling this in, it's probably just a little easier to see it all as the same color. Okay, and now grab that. That's been filled in. I think we're at the point where we can get rid of all the lines. Almost. There's a few spots where I have this stuff going on. Okay. Make sure there's nothing else like that happen anywhere else. Oh, yep, that corner. Okay, let's give it a shot. Those are obviously too similar. Worst case, we can always go back and boy, it's going to take a while to delete all those green lines. You know what I might want to do? Here's a little trick. I'm going to step back a bit here and make every stroke the same color. All right, so I'm just going to change them all at once. And then anything that's touching anybody else is going to get deleted. There we go. Obviously, move this along a bit faster. And now that needs to get filled in. And I'll just move the, oops. I'll just move this shape to right here. Okay. I want to make this a dark color, but not pure black. So let's go over here. Just do it. And then let's make some of them. Here, I'm going to swatches to do this. A bit lighter. So this side, and I'll step this down a little bit. So make that a bit lighter, and then anything on this side I can make darker like so. And hey, maybe that will go with our pure black. Let me just see how this looks. Well, it looks like one of those things that would have been impressive in a 3D program like 20 years ago. Let's just call it gear base, or I don't know, gear shaded, whatever. Most likely, you'll end up making this kind of an endoskeleton object, so you'll end up shading it anyway pretty dark, and then just having it be a small little piece of the whole. Let's do something like that. This could be a little something that maybe acts as like the side of a leg. Let's see. Actually, leave it over here, but let's do this one on the other side. For example, so here's kind of your hip. And then you've got, you know, your leg coming down here. And you could just do these in weird little places. Of course, your whole exoskeleton would be surrounding this. But that's pretty much what I have in mind for that little part. So let's go ahead and take it over here to the library. And hey, look at that. You can see that I already added one in there. Unfortunately, it's very similar. So, well, it's shaded a little bit differently, but it's still based off of a 12-sided gear, so it's essentially, it is pretty very, very similar. But off screen, you or I could go and make all sorts of different gears with simpler, more complex. I don't really think I'll do a more complex one. That was getting a little tough to see after a while who was connecting to who. But you can make like thinner ones or fatter ones. Oh, actually though, a fatter one would probably be easier to just go and duplicate it like this. Kind of get the same effect. Unless you needed to go off in perspective. But even then, what you could do is just break it apart and then let your distort tool handle the perspective like that. So that's not too bad. Okay, come back for more later.